Hi everybody, welcome back. Tony again here with Shinsho Yoga, and for this video I'd like to talk a little bit about a Buddhist concept called right speech. This was something that I had discussed in one of my classes over the summer, actually one of my beach yogas, and a lot of people had a lot of questions, and they had kept coming up to me weeks afterwards talking about how it had really opened their eyes to certain things. Whether that does that for you will remain to be seen, but I think it's an important topic to share. So, in Buddhism, you have what's called the Eightfold Noble Path. Buddhism can be pretty heady at times depending on the style of Buddhism you study, especially Indian Buddhism. Zen Buddhism, which I am a Zen Buddhist, is generally more streamlined, for lack of a better term. But the concepts all still apply, whether you are putting a lot of time into sutra and study or time into meditation. The concepts apply no matter what. And the Eightfold Noble Path has how you are to act. And one of them, and in my opinion one of the most important, is a concept called right speech. And what right speech is basically a filter, right? Before we say anything, before we write anything, anytime words are going to come from us, whether they're going to go into an email, go into a text message, they're going to go into your social media site, they're going to come out on the phone, they're going to go face to face with the person you are talking to. However these words are going to come out, you need to run them through 4 filters first. Is it truthful? Is it necessary? Is it kind? And is it timely? Right? Is it truthful? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Is it timely? Now, that last one, timely, if you are a student of Buddhism, you might not find that in a lot of documents. You usually find the first 3. That's something that my teacher, my sensei, my Roshi, taught me as an addition to that. And that timeliness one, I think, is just as important. This filter in our head needs to run in the background, right, at all times. So as we're speaking, as we're writing, however we are communicating where we're using words, this filter runs. And before those things come out, what we are going to produce, say, write, goes through that. And if it doesn't pass that check, we don't do it. We don't say it. Sometimes we may need to say something to someone. Maybe you have a friend who is having a bad time. Let's give us an example, a basic example. You have a friend who's having a bad time in a relationship, and you hear all that's going on with them, and you say, wow, I really, I want to help my friend, and what they're telling me, they're going to put themselves in this bad position if they continue with that, right? And I want to tell this to them, right? Now, what you're saying, right, what you're going to tell them may be truthful, at least from your point of view, right? What you're saying may be necessary to help them, right, in it. But maybe you don't have the best way of delivering it. Maybe how you would deliver it isn't going to be kind. Maybe what you're going to say right then maybe was the right time to say it too. So it's timely, it's necessary, and it's truthful. But how you're going to deliver it isn't kind. Maybe you're worked up at what your friend is saying, and you're like, oh, they never listen and this and that. I'm going to tell. We don't say it. If it can't come out kind, we don't say it. Maybe that same situation is there. Your friend is in a relationship. The relationship isn't going well. You want to tell them something, right? But what you're going to tell them, right? Maybe what you're saying, it's the timing would be right. It'd be a good time to tell them. Maybe it's necessary. Maybe you have a kind way of saying it. But maybe what you're saying really isn't the truth. Maybe it's just what you want to believe, or what you want to believe about the other person. Or maybe you don't have the full scenario of what's going on with them. So what you're saying is just what you're assuming from all of this. You don't know if it's the truth. We don't say it. And the same goes for the rest of it. Is it necessary? Is it kind, right? Is it necessary? Sometimes we want to say things to people, and if we really give it a moment of thought, what we're going to say is unnecessary. I would say the majority of what people talk about, at least in the day and age we live in, is unnecessary. You can see it in social media all the time. What people say, a lot of the times, is unnecessary, right? Is it necessary you say this to your friend? Or is it just serving your ego to say it? Or how you feel? Or are you putting your beliefs, your points of view on that person, right? Maybe you had a relationship that recently ended, using this example, right? And now you're feeling it, oh, this person's doing the same thing, so I'm going to tell them what I went through in this. Is that necessary? And one of the most importantly ones, is it timely? Right? What you want to say to your friend may be necessary. It may be truthful. It may be kind. But right then and there at that moment is not the right time. If you tell someone something and the timing of it isn't correct with the window, they're not going to listen, and you may cause a bigger problem and more of an argument and have them be mad at you. If your friend is angry and worked up and really pissed off and you want to tell them this thing that's going to be necessary, it's truthful, it's kind, you're going to pull the rug out from underneath them. All these things you're going to have to do, right? They may not be in a place to hear it. And the next thing you know is you've only made it worse. Is it truthful? Is it necessary? Is it kind? And is it timely? Everything that comes out of us has to run through that filter. Whether it's, again, in the time of Buddhism, it's right speech, right? Because we didn't have social media when Buddhism came around. But anything that you are going to put out into words, words have power. Words can build someone up or tear them down. You have to run through this filter. Is it truthful? Is it necessary? Is it kind? And is it timely? And this is something you have to practice, right? It's not just going to be something that you do, right, one time and you have it. Because I know when I've mentioned this to people, sometimes, their eyes will, oh, wow, that sounds like a lot. How am I supposed to do that? You have to practice this so this filter is just automatic in the back of your head. That you don't have to stop and go when someone's talking to you and go, truthful, necessary, kind, it's okay. Okay, right? It's just filtering constantly about what you say. Your friend's saying something, they're talking. You're like, I don't know if the timing is really right on this for me to say that. Or you're listening to them and you go, I don't know if that's necessary for me to say anything. Or you're listening to them and you go, that's the most truthful thing in the world. That's just kind of what I believe, Or, ooh, I'm in a bad mood today, and if I respond to this, it is not going to come out kind. Is it truthful? Is it necessary? Is it kind? And is it timely? Those 4 things. You have to run whatever words are going to go through you to another before you do it, before you post on social media. Is it truthful? Is it necessary? Is it kind? And is it timely? Before you send that letter, that email, respond to your friend's text. That filter. That filter is so important, because so many issues in our world could be avoided if we were more careful in what we said to one another. Words, again, can either build someone up or tear them completely down. You say them at the wrong time, you could destroy them. You say the wrong thing, you could destroy them. Right? And this isn't meant for you to walk around on eggshells and being, oh my God, I would have to be careful everything I say. We do like we do with everything. We breathe, we follow our breath, we let the thoughts arise, we let them pass by, we return to the breath, and we be present in the moment that we're in. And if we're present in the moment that we're in, not being pulled into the future, going into anxiety, not being pulled into the past, going into depression, being present in the moment, that filter will not be a challenge. Present, breathing. No. Really shouldn't say any of that. I should just listen. Majority of the time, that's all you ever need to do, is just listen. But if you are going to say something, you'll want to use that filter. It'll help you. So, as always, take from that what serves you, get rid of the rest. That doesn't mean take what's comfortable and leave what's uncomfortable, because we often need what is uncomfortable to grow. So thanks again for tuning in this week. Namaste.